The economic pain continues, and it doesn't seem like we have anybody intelligent enough to help the problem. My name's Eric. This is Above My Pay Grade. Let's get into it. So, one of the reasons I started this channel is I don't just want to be a prognosticator of bad news and government overreach and all the things we don't like and complain about it. I want to be, as the economic ninja says, I want to change things. I want this community, people that watch this channel, to think about how they can help their neighbor and help their community. Because if you're paying attention to some of these things, you'll be in a position to do just that. And those little small things, helping your neighbor in times of need, I think can be the seeds to change a whole bunch, change culture, change the way people think about things. But I do think it's important to pay attention to what has been going on and some of the warning signs for the future. There's really no let up in the food crisis, and you've probably heard about this diesel crisis as well. So the thing is, diesel relies on, there's so many moving parts. It's like a hive. Our whole economy, West Coast versus East Coast, distribution, how we get it there. So a lot of people want it to fit into this neat box, but these supply chains run on, kind of run on perfection. If you think about an airline or FedEx or anybody that works with logistics, they work on things working well, and there not being a break in that chain of logistics. And there have been quite a few when it comes to diesel production and distribution. And the warning signs are there for this fall that and summer that we're going to have a flat out diesel shortage. And in fact, diesel reached its all-time high of $5.62 a gallon, I believe. So I'm going to read from this article from The Hedge. This refers to the food and diesel shortage, and I thought this kind of made me a little emotional. This was referring to a couple that has a set of twins, and they were looking for baby formula. And it says, when Eric and Kelly Schmidt, both 35, went to a Central Florida store this week to buy their usual baby formula, Up and Up Gentle, for their 5-month-old twins, they found an empty shelf. The pair that embarked on a half-day journey in search of formula, any formula, and their quest didn't end there. We spent over 4 hours going to every Target, different Walmarts, different grocery stores, just to find absolutely nothing, Eric Schmidt said. And you probably heard that a large baby formula plant was shut down by the FDA this a couple months ago. And people like that need help. And if in any way you have somebody in your life that is in that position, my son still takes formula, and we're having a hard time finding it. But he's not an infant, like a baby anymore. But he does still take formula. But we can supplement, so we're blessed. But people like this need help. So I encourage you to reach out to your communities and help people that are hurting like this, because that is very sad. A lot of you who have had kids know that switching formulas is not as easy as it might sound. And a lot of women don't, medically, they can't breastfeed. So a lot of people are quick to say, just breastfeed your child. And there's a lot of medical reasons as to why some women cannot. And in this case, this woman has twins, and she might not produce enough milk to feed these kids. But the bottom line is, this is happening all over the United States, and it's affecting children, and it's making some people feel obviously very desperate. Further down the article, it says, of course, the Biden administration has made sure there's enough baby formula for the migrants that are illegally crossing the border. And I have a heart for migrants. I have a heart for the disenfranchised, people hurting around the world. But I always go back to, what is the government's job if not to look out for its citizens? What is the military's job if not to protect its citizens? And if we are looking and helping other societies before ours, number one, I don't think it's the government's job to help people like this. I think it's us as the United States citizens, not as a government, to help them. It's the church's job. It's not the government's job, because the government takes your money and distributes it as they see fit. But I think when it comes to charity, when it comes to helping others, I don't think the government should have a role in that outside of the United States. Why? Because, as the quote I said at the beginning, as Rand Paul says, foreign aid is taking money from the poor people of a rich country and giving it to the rich people of a poor country. And if you look at the track record, look at Haiti, look at Puerto Rico, look at Ukraine, the money doesn't go to the people that need it. And so I am a believer in helping others. And if you're a believer in helping others too, you should take it out of your own pocketbook and not have the government spend money that they don't have. And plus, it's just rife with corruption. But that's just sad. I mean, if the government doesn't put its own citizens first, I mean, what are we doing here? Same thing with the military. If we don't put American citizens first when it comes to what we're protecting, what are we doing? So apparently that plant, that Abbott Nutrition plant that was shut down, is soon to be reopened, but it will take, according to this article, a few months to get products back on the shelves. And even in grocery stores, in the Midwest, there's a grocery store chain called Hy-Vee, and they have an advertisement that says "helpful smile in every aisle." But it says, but the police-style uniforms, complete with belts, holsters, and tasers, and possibly handguns, may send a slightly different message. Prediction, and it predicts this in this article, where you're going to start to see armed guards in grocery stores, which, America, folks. But people get desperate. And that's why, again, I'm going to reiterate, if you can prepare and be a person who's prepared, not scared, you can help other people. Okay, if you're constantly worried about your family getting enough food, you probably don't have enough bandwidth to even think about anybody else. But people who listen to this channel, I'm sure you are people that care about others, and you're prepared for potential eventualities. And so I encourage you to help look at people in your community and see who needs help. Another piece of bad news. A lot of countries, including India just banned the exports of wheat. And again, we have this huge, massive globalist system where plants are shut down in one country because India now provides 30% of the world's wheat. And so the production capacity in that country doesn't even exist anymore. So they are 100% reliant on imports. And what happens when those imports are turned off? It's not good. And that even goes into the the diesel fuel shortage. Typically what happens in this type of environment is entrepreneurs come along, They see an opportunity and they say, there is a shortage. I will create supply. However, we live in this bureaucratic state that makes it so difficult to get a lease for drilling, to drill at all, that no new supply is coming online. And that's new. The fact that there's a shortage and that government's just making it even harder. And typically government's solution to this, they can't affect supply. The Federal Reserve can affect demand, and so can the Treasury by throwing out dollars, but they can't affect supply. And when you have children running your economic and energy policy, and they just hope and pray, and they don't think supply and demand, it just does not end well. And so until we have more supply, it's just the pain's going to continue with food and with fuel. And I think we're going to see, a lot of pundits have said this, there's going to be a transition from globalization, away from globalization, because a lot of countries have realized that they're too dependent on other people for either their national security or even their food supply, which could be a good thing, but there's going to be a lot of growing pains. And right now, I don't think the people in charge are understanding the ramifications of some of their dumb policies. All right. Anyways, guys, I hope, just another warning, more bad news, unfortunately, but I want to hopefully build a community here that wants to take care of other people, sees what's coming down the pipe, and hopes to change little by little. Really, it's just, if you think about in your life when you change your mind, it's usually because you had a conversation with somebody, that person cared enough to talk to you. And I want to be that kind of community, people that care about other people, talk to them about what's going on, try to educate others. Because there's been a mountain of propaganda pumped out, so it is really hard to filter through what's going on here. But I do know this, we can help others, and that gives me a lot of hope for the future. So anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.